Hello, hope I'm doing well, and it was announced earlier today that Pledge of the Radiant Court will be returning after next week's maintenance on the 18th. This will feature Vanguard, Indomitable, Jervis, Revenge, Bellona, as well as the Admiralty Fire Control Table, which I know many people are excited to get a second of, myself included. Got some nice ship designs and fairly useful, especially Vanguard. So yeah, we're gonna take a look at their arts and then take a look at the ships themselves, go my brief summaries of them, and then just the other miscellaneous event stuff like what stages I recommend and what you should go for in the event shop. Spoiler alert, it's the fire control table. Because this is a rerun UR event, there will be free pulls. So to around 33, I believe. And it only lasts a week. Be aware of that. But we'll get login rewards for more points and free pulls. And the point accumulation will be compressed, so you don't need as much. And you'll get more points. There should be double or triple rewards for even the hard mode stages this time around. So it's much easier to farm. And yeah, let's just get into looking at the girls. So first up, we have the Battleship Vanguard, the centerpiece of this event. Very nice, very funny girl. She does some funny lines, so that's cool. And good looking design, good looking rigging. I like the line in the background. And her skin, which she only has one of at this time, it's quite nice. Very wholesome. Hopefully she gets another one soon. It's been a long time she's got a skin, so hopefully she gets another one. Next up is Indomitable of the Illustrious class. This will be the last member. There she is, hanging out on a tree. Very ornate rigging, very bronze-looking planes. Featuring the armored flight deck of many of the Illustrious class. Then here is her skin. Bit of a maid skin. Very skimpy maid skin at that. There we go. Next up is Jervis DD. I noticed that her original art has a bunch of the Red Cross signs, but I know that the Red Cross is not what game developers use the Red Cross in their games. It's interesting. And here's her skin. There's another maid skin. Dido in the background, so you get a 2-for-1. Especially like Dido, you can just zoom in. Or you can go with the Manju's butthole. That's also a thing you can do. Next up is Bellona. She is the point accumulation ship. So if you will like her, you can get her pretty easy. I just noticed she has a little cat down there. And here's her skin, maid skin, and you got 3 ship girls in one. So you got Bellona, you got her direct sister, Black Prince, and her half sister Sirius. Here's Sirius's broken a vase, unfortunate. And lastly, we have Revenge, the R class. And here is her maid skin. Here she has made a mess. I feel like she should be wearing glasses for whatever reason. I feel like glasses look good on her. Yeah, I don't know why. And also, we have the Agir L2D. Go. Oh, look, it says is her artist in the background. I had just noticed that. Cat, feet, butt, boobs, all the good stuff. And it's very suggestive, as you would expect. And also, Prinz Eugen's L2D, kind of a maid at the bar. It's similar to like the Prinz Audibert L2D she got when she first came out, so very similar to that. And lastly, we have Ark Royal getting a nice skin. Very nice skin. I like the design. Like kind of the so does the privateer look to her, but nothing too crazy. Oh look, there's York and Exeter in the background, and their O skins. Very nice. Got a lot of combo skins this time. Yeah, should work at the cafe. Hopefully not doing anything inappropriate. And we will move on to the Shipgirl reviews and little recaps. Starting with Vanguard. So first up, Battleship Vanguard. Very good supporter, fairly strong in her own right. So for her skills, Glisten, Light of Glory. She fires a special barrage upon loading her main guns. Also, independent of this, all enemies take 8% extra damage from battleships or battlecruisers. So this skill is why she's my go-to supporter for battleship fleets now. I could use Duke of York or West Virginia, someone like that, but I just been sticking with Vanguard since I got her. So very reliable. And also, with her other skill, is some more debuffs to enemies. So debuffs are on accuracy, by 12% and reload by 20. And enemies that have been afloat for at least 2 seconds take 10% more damage from all of your ships. So she doesn't just buff battleships, she buffs everyone by debuffing the enemy. Very, very good. And the third part of her skill is a cross-fleet barrage. When she's afloat, she provides 10% firepower buff to all Royal in the ships in the fleet she is not in, and fires a special barrage after 30 seconds. And for 15 seconds, buffs AA by 10% for all ships in that fleet that she is not in. And her last skill, Behold my Royal Saber. Her secondaries are guaranteed to crit, so having a good one on her, facing like a suicide boat or ramming ships, is very, very good. And if she has at least one piece of Royal Navy gear, she buffs her own AA gun efficiency by 30% and decreases your flagship's main gun spread by 2. And if there's at least one other Royal Navy ship in the same fleet as her, all Royal Navy ships take 10% less damage from aircraft. So like I said earlier, my go-to buffer for battleships, really good, looks nice. So I recommend picking her up if you don't have a good debuffer for enemies and you need another good battleship. Go. Alternatives are like Duke of York, West Virginia, people like that. They're also good, but you know, we got a Blondie now. So, well, we've had her, but you don't have her. There you go. Next up is Indomitable. She is an illustrious class, so she's got pretty good AA, and she runs double fighters. She does not have the option of switching around like Formidable does, so she is locked into fighter, torpedo bomber. Beware of that. What's good about that is you can run her in your Chapter 15 support fleet. That way you have those extra fighter support, which is good. So for her skills, 1 iota of effort, launching an airstrike fires an additional special airstrike that inflicts a special burn on enemies hit, and then second skill, 2 can play at that game 10 seconds after the battle starts, and every 20 seconds after that launches an additional special airstrike that inflicts a special burn on enemy's hit. What's cool about special burn is that it stacks, and when her own aircraft shoot down an enemy plane, decreases all your ship's damage taken from aircraft by 15% seconds with a 20-second cooldown. So nice support, keeping your ship safe, and she's got plenty of fighters, so you'll have that pretty good uptime on that. And then her last skill, Together We Shine Brighter, increases your illustrious class damage dealt by 8%, and at the start of the battle, increase aviation and accuracy by 15% for your illustrious class carriers, except for herself. She increases her own aviation accuracy if she is sorted with Prince of Wales, Repulse, or Repulse Meta, and if she is sorted with none of the above and there are no other illustrious class, she buffs her own aviation by 15%. So she's got options for how to buff herself, how to buff others. I like to run her, well, what I'm planning on running her is for one of the light bosses for the Extreme Challenge mode, running triple illustrious class in the background with the fighter planes, the rockets, and just seeing how that works. Yeah, good for support fleet. If you don't have anyone else, you can already get Illustrious and Illustrious Muse from the shops. And so if you pick up Indomitable, well, now you got 3 for your support fleet, and you're pretty much good to go. Just be aware that Together We Shine Brighter, those buffs don't apply in your support fleet just because skills don't auto-activate in that fleet. So for that, pretty good. Otherwise, I mean, she's fairly strong, but I would say someone like Illustrious, especially with her augment gear, is a little better. Illustrious can heal, and I like healing, but not a bad pickup regardless. Next up is Jervis. She's a DD. She's a pretty good torpedo, actually. Higher than I remember. But otherwise, for the most part, I just see her as a weaker version of Ingraham, so I would prefer to use Ingraham over her. But she got really good ASW, so if you need ASW, she is the event map dropship, and she's in the shop. She's also in the Gacha pool. But for her skills, please take care. Buffs her own firepower and ASW by 10%, and 20 seconds after the battle starts, deals 5% max HP to all Vanguard ships. At the start of battle, if there are 3 more Royal Navy ships in the fleet, buffs Royal Navy DDs, firepower, torpedo, and ASW by 10%. So the heal's nice, it's just one time. And for her second skill, Lucky Jervis, which takes 10% less damage from aircraft. And if there are only DDs or CLs in your Vanguard, buff torpedo by 10%, and decrease own torpedo damage taken by 20%. And if you have a full Vanguard, every time Jervis takes damage, you have a 15% chance to buff her own evasion by 30% for 10 seconds with a 20-second cooldown. So similar to Ingraham, but with more self-survivability and less supporting survivability. But not a bad option if you need a healer for your Vanguard and you need some decent torpedo and decent ASW. Next up is Revenge, and unfortunately she is an elite, so she's more of a collection ship. Her skills, Revengeful Strike, she has Armor Break, which is really cool. And it's 50% chance, so that's decent. And every 15 seconds, that times well with your battleship's guns. And her second skill buffs her on firepower 10%. And she's got an interesting part for the second part. If she is not the flagship, but your flagship is a battleship or battlecruiser, her shells will fire from the flagship position instead of wherever else she's at. That's interesting, but other than the armor break, nothing too special about her, unfortunately. So, more of a collection ship than anything really useful. Does look nice though. And lastly, we have Bellona. She is a light cruiser, and so for her skills, thrown on the gauntlet, buffs her own AA and evasion by 20%. And if there are 3 or more Royal Navy ships in your fleet, buffs her own AA gun efficiency by 15%, and buff your Royal Navy DD's AA by 15%. And her second skill, which would probably be the main reason why I use her, Air Raid Assistance. It buffs damage dealt by your carriers by 15%, but it does not stack with other versions of this skill. So it does not stack with Kazugumo, Bailey, Yugure, or even some like Kearsarge's effects. You can't run 2 of them get the same effects. So just be aware of that. But if you don't have someone like that and you want to buff your carrier some more, there you go. Run her. She's point accumulation, so you should get her fairly easily. But other than that, if you don't need the air resistance, then she's a collection ship. So for what maps to farm, I highly recommend D2 or D3. D2 because you can get Unicorn, you can get Helldivers, and you can get the Sea Hornet, which is very, very good, a very, very good fighter. I recommend getting that. And D3 because you can get the most points per run from it. You can get a fairly fast firing HE gun, good. You also get toolbox prints, so those are always nice to have. And you can get Jervis, event dropship, and rounds pretty good. You get monitor, so Terror. She's got low oil costs, but the oil cap kind of put a damper on the use of monitors. Unfortunate. As for the shop, absolutely grab the Admiralty Fire Control Table. This is very, very good. If you have any of the fire control radars, this is just a better version of it. Better stats. So definitely recommend getting it. Very, very good. After that, get your cognitive arrays, blueprints if you need them, and parts, oil coins if you need them. And if you're going to grab tech packs, grab the Eagle Union ones first. Those are the best. And Jervis if you haven't gotten her. And Jervis if you haven't gotten her. As for point accumulation, standard stuff. Retrofit prints, chips, coins, in the beginning. Skill books, you also get Bellona. Blueprints, it's PR Season 4, be aware of that. You also get 1 Bullen. So nothing too crazy here. Always want to grab the Bullen, because there's so many URs now. So to wrap things up, should you pull, Vanguard is very useful. Very good debuffer, very good buffer. We will have the Ian anniversary coming up next month, so you will have time to recover your cubes. So, worth trying to get her. As for the rest, Indomitable has uses, just as other options that are available easier, such as Illustrious and Illustrious Muse. Jervis is a nice healer. Hopefully you can get her just from the map. And unfortunately the other two, Revenge and Bellona. Bellona you can't pull for, and Revenge is just a collection ship, unfortunately. Yes, hopefully you can get Vanguard if you don't have her before you hit the pity system. Otherwise, it would be very unfortunate. And yeah, so wish you the best of luck. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you found it useful, share it with someone else. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.